Hi, guys. Welcome back to Morant's Rants. Plenty of good information, a little bit of motivation, a whole lot of truth, no financial advice. So I was digging for Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm trying to protect any investor, trying to give you the information you might need before you guys actually put any more capital towards this play, towards this short squeeze, towards this bankruptcy, whatever you guys want to do. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what I found. It's pretty particular. Pay attention. It's a life lesson. Let's go. So right here, you're going to see Bed Bath & Beyond and Hudson Bay have announced they're doing a deal together. And we know that they've been holding the warrants. I said this previous. I tell you, they're diluting them as well. Nobody wants to believe that part. Hey, be careful with who's buying these shares because the price movement is telling us that, right? But when you look into Hudson Bay, and I went over there and I looked at them, all the board of directors, I'm trying to connect dots. Nah, not so much because something was flagged right away. Well, first off, they have plenty of distressed credit investors in the firm itself. You know, they all have ties to it. That's fine. But nothing tied them to Apollo. And you know how I feel right now. I feel like Apollo is put their CEO in place. They put multiple people along the board. They have all this influence on this company along with other distressed credit investors. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie. Well, look at what I found, and you guys tell me which road we're going down. So right here, this is going to be where it says right here, Hudson Bay Capital Management now owns 1 million shares of this Apollo Strategic Growth Capital. Now, they just bought these three months ago. 3 months ago, they bought 1 million shares for $10 million. It's a blank check company, okay? It's a SPAC. Apollo has their first official SPAC. They put it out there on the market March of 2021. It's going to expire May 12th, I believe. May 12th or 14th of 2023. It takes 2 years for a SPAC to go public. If they don't, then everybody gets their money back, right? But the shares are $10 a piece when they all start out. Now, I looked at this and I'm asking myself, why is Hudson Bay Capital putting money in on this SPAC right now? Come December, right? Like, it's like, do they know something we don't? Then let's go to the next month. You have it right here. This is APGB. That's what it is. That's the ticker. And it's Apollo Strategic Growth Capital. And they have 62 million shares available. And you have $634 million. When I say available, those are not available. Institutions hold that many shares. $634 million is what's already raised via this. Who's the number one holder in this group? Ken Griffin. Over $41 million put in, 4 million shares. You also have this Arista, whatever the hell this is, capital. These guys at 34 million, the employees at Hudson Bay used to work for this company. I'm just letting you know, some of them. And then you have Hudson Bay as well. Hudson Bay's here, and they increased their holdings. In the span of 2 months, they went ahead and put in triple the amount of money. Now they're at $29 million. So they've increased. They're the number 5 shareholder, number 6 shareholder in this SPAC company. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Well, in December, they announced, December 23rd, 2022, here's the SEC filing, APGB went ahead and announced that they're going to go public soon enough. And when they do, they have a deadline here of May 12th. There you go, May 12th, 2023, but they can push back that date if they need to. Now, they've raised enough money. If you guys don't know how much money they've raised, we can go look at it. Here is the stock, APGB, and they have already raised $878 million worth of market cap on this company. Guys, if you're putting in money here and you want to see it go up and you want to see it pump, maybe it will. But I know what it takes for a company, because I follow HYMC a lot, to take a company out of bankruptcy via a SPAC and what it does. Like, what are the benefits? So just so we're clear, a SPAC right here, sometimes called a blank check company. That's what this is. And what does it do for you? Guys, there's a whole deal here. SPACs should consider targeting bankruptcy sales. And why? Because in Chapter 11, Section 363, it tells you numerous details that you can do where you, look at this. Additionally, Section 363 sales typically attract only a few buyers, which may provide an opportunity to purchase assets at below market prices. Some potential buyers avoid Section 363 sales simply because such sales occur within bankruptcy settings, while others find the risk associated with the sale process to be overwhelming. Whatever they want to say. I'm telling you why people go ahead and file it via this bankruptcy code. Now, if you guys don't know what's happening, the new rules that are put into place for the SPACs, because remember, you had 1,500 SPACs in 2020, 2021 combined, and you had never had more than 100 in a year previous to that, or maybe like 150 max. But I'm just telling you, SPACs are no longer, as of today, because of this rule right here that was put into place. The new rules require addressing potential shareholder dilution arising from numerous sources during SPAC formation, including outstanding warrants, convertible securities, and PIPE financing. So what does that mean? That means that you have to tell your investors everything, especially when you're going to form a SPAC, out of the bankruptcies particular. And why do we say that? Because look at what's happening, guys. Numerous companies have gone bankrupt since the SPAC came up, since that combination would happen. Now, right now, this month alone, you have $18 billion facing a deadline in March. That's why I tell you banks are nervous. I'm not telling you banks are nervous because the mortgage-backed securities or the interest rates. I'm more worried about this issue where people were parking money into companies and now those companies are not public. So now they're going to go ahead and give back the money. You're going to ask for that money back? Well, where are they all going to go put it? I know some shares they want to buy, but we'll leave it here. Here's how you explain the best way I can. And this is the first guy I know that did SPACs via bankruptcy. And there's special circumstances for it and reasons for it. And I'm going to let Jason Mudrick of HYMC, of course, comboed with Apollo at AMC, and you tell me how Jason Mudrick gives away all the information. Here you go.
We did sponsor a special purpose acquisition company called the ticker was MUDS. It's since been sort of de-SPACed because we merged it with Highcroft Mining. Mm-hmm. We IPO'd our SPAC a couple of years ago, and the thinking at the time, it was a very different world than we live in today, but the thinking at the time was nobody had raised a SPAC that we had known about with a very specific mandate of merging into a post-bankruptcy company. So a lot of SPACs had been raised by industry veterans to go after certain industry verticals. So, you would have a management team focused on paper and packaging, and they would look for a paper and packaging asset that they could take public through merging with their blank check company. But nobody had looked at the problem that we were seeing in post-bankruptcy equities, and that problem was that a lot of them were very illiquid, right? So a lot of post-bankruptcy companies had good businesses, but were effectively private because in bankruptcy, the new equity had been given to the old creditors, and it had come out as a private company. Mm-hmm. But the process of bankruptcy deleveraged the business. So you had this good business that had a bad balance sheet. The balance sheet was fixed through the bankruptcy process. There was still a good business, but the company was now private because the nature of the deleveraging was that debt was swapped for equity, and the company was inadvertently it was previously a public company, should be a public company, it was inadvertently taken private. Our core business here is not managing SPACs, it's actually investing in distressed companies. And we saw amongst a number of our portfolio companies that they were companies that should be public, that had a very exciting story to them, that had public company management teams, but were private. And a SPAC was a very quick way to get these companies to be listed again. Mm-hmm. So that was the thinking. It was, I think, the first of its kind. It was a SPAC not raised to go after any particular type of industry, but to be the going public event or the liquidity provider for a post-bankruptcy situation. There's a lot of advantages to SPACs, as I'm sure you and your followers know. They can be effected quickly. Typically, an IPO can take a year or longer because you've already gone through the going public process. And what a de-SPACing is effectively is a merger negotiation, and that can happen in 90 to 120 days. So it's quick. Oftentimes, in a merger, you can provide forward-looking guidance. You can provide projections, whereas in a traditional IPO, you can't. So for a lot of these companies that have been private and have a turnaround embedded in them because they were part of a bankruptcy, being able to tell the world what management thinks the company will do over the next 3 to 5 years can be very advantageous. The negatives are there's some dilution that are associated with warrants that you have to give this original SPAC investors to get the company public. But if you have an asset that has enough upside, just because of the nature of the company, a little bit of dilution can be a small cost to pay to get a company public quickly. So SPAC.
So I hope that explains to you why they go public via SPAC out of bankruptcy. I can only think of 2 companies that have ties to Apollo, where Apollo would need to raise this type of capital to subside what the debt is, right? So ideally, I'm looking at Bed Bath & Beyond to file for bankruptcy within the next year. I'm looking for AMC to file for bankruptcy within the next year. And now I see what they've been doing. They've been raising money via SPAC, and they went back to their original investors. Citadel was the first investor of AMC movie theaters. When I look at Bed Bath & Beyond, it's riddled with distressed credit investors. So you see Hudson Bay come in with warrants, and they're going to give them some liquidity, some life, because maybe they haven't raised enough capital yet on the other side. But why is Hudson Bay buying in to a SPAC company right now, to a blank check company within the last 2 months? And it's Apollo? Why? I don't know. But I want to find out, and I'm sure you guys do too. I just want to give you the other side of this coin, guys. Stop thinking it's Carl Icahn. Stop thinking it's Ryan Cohen. What if it is Apollo buying into, I don't care which company, whether it be Bed Bath & Beyond or even AMC? Either way, I'm not touching a damn thing. Good luck, nerds. Peace.